Hello all, I am Professor M.B.Nigade from AISSMS IoT of Department of Engineering Science. Our today's topic is nuclear power plant. In nuclear energy from the nuclear fuel, then generally nuclear energy has a bright futures. Bright future that nuclear fuel is used for the power generation like uranium and thoriums. This is artificially produced by the plutoniums. Then estimated the global reserve for the uranium is 76 40,000 tons. India has reserve for 1 lakh 70,000 tons of uranium. Generally, in atomic fission, the heavy nucleus like uranium is split into the two more lighter nuclei having the combined mass less than parent elements. That is E is equal to mc square. That is Einstein in mass energy equation. We can see that some energy is now the produce. In this nuclear power plant, the nuclear power plant utilizes the energy produced by the nuclear fission reaction for generating the steam. This steam is further utilized in conventional thermal power plant for running the steam turbine and electrical generator. In nuclear power plant, nuclear energy of fuel is converted into the heat energy by nuclear reactor and heat exchanger. Therefore, the heat energy of the steam is then converted into the mechanical energy by the turbine, which is finally converted into the electrical by the generators. Then this is a different type of component. If you are seen in this diagram, schematic diagram, this is a nuclear reactors. Then nuclear next is heat exchanger and steam turbines. Okay, this is steam turbine is there. Then generators, condensers, this is condenser, the feed pump again, then cooling tower and condenser water circulating pump. Generally, nuclear reactors means this is a reactor core. If you see that this is a reactor core, in this nuclear reactors, energy is produced by fissioning the reaction of nuclear fuel. Like this nuclear fuel is used as a nuclear reactor as unstable radioactivity material like a thorium, uranium, or plutonium. In this nuclear fission, the slow-moving neutrons are bombarding on the atoms of nuclear fuel, and the heavy nucleus of nuclear fuel, like uranium, is split into the more and lighter nuclei, having the combined mass is less than that of parent element. Therefore, this energy release is taken into the primary coolant. Therefore, primary coolant may be as a gas like carbon dioxide or helium or liquid metal like a sodium or potassium or their alloy. Therefore, the main component of nuclear reactor is moderator, control rod, and external shield is there. Next is now the moderator. The fissions of a nuclear fuel is produced by fast-moving neutron, and these neutron are slowly down to the right speed by moderator, so as to increase the effectiveness of the fissions. Therefore, this control rod is the rate of energy is released by the chain reaction due to the fission of nuclear fuel is very high, and if the rate of heat energy is not controlled properly, it may melt entire the core and surrounding the structure. Therefore, the rate of heat energy is released is controlled by adjusting the rod is called as a control rod. Then external shield means this shield is also one of the important. This external shield is provided for physical safety of person operating in the nuclear reactor from harmful effect of radiations also. Next is now the heat exchanger. The heat exchanger is the heat is absorbed by the primary coolant in a nuclear reactor, is transferred to the water in the heat exchanger, and the water is converted into the high pressurized steam. Therefore, the heat exchanger is acts as a boiler of thermal reactor is there. Means from this heat exchanger we can supply the steam to the turbine and the converted the steam energy into the mechanical pressure energy and pressure energy into the mechanical, and this turbine is not running with very high speed to produce the electricity by using some generator. In generators, that is starter and a rotor is there. Okay, then in schematic diagram, if you see in a schematic diagram, if you see that this is a control rod, this radiation shield reflector is there, and this hot water and cold water, okay, means the feed pump steam turbine means the high pressurized steam from the heat exchanger is expand into the turbine and produce the mechanical work. And these generators, and the generator means turbine shaft is on the coupled with the generators, means this is generator is there to converted to produce the electricity in terms of AC or DC. Means these turbines running with very high speed to convert the mechanical into the electrical. The next is now the condenser is there. If you see in a condenser from this end, the condenser, is nothing but the steam from the steam turbine is exerted to the condenser, where the steam is condensed by rejecting the heat to the cooling water circulating in condenser. If condensed steam is called as condensate. Then next is feed pump is there. This feed pump, if you see that condensate is extracted from the condenser, is feed back to the heat exchanger. This is a heat exchanger, and this heat exchanger is now the acts as by absorbing, means heat is now the absorbed by primary coolant in the nuclear reactor to transport the water into the heat exchanger. The next is now the again this heat exchanger or steam generator is also called as steam generator, and then cooling tower also, means cooling tower, from cooling tower is now the circulated into the condenser and absorb the heat from exhausted steam, and steam turbine in condenser. Then this type of steam is now the produce, means and to produce the electricity. If you see the in this reaction, means if a neutron is now the bombarding over the nucleus like a uranium, and it is split into the number of, means this is called nuclear fissions, lighter molecule we can produce, and those lighter molecule has the huge amount of energy is now the produce, and due to this huge amount of energy is now the converted into the steam, and this water is now the heater and to produce the steam, and those steam is now the used for the producing of electricity. Then advantage of nuclear power plant, the large amount of energy is released by very small amount of fuel is compared to the conventional fuel like a diesel engine. Lot of conventional fuel is now the required, but here very small amount of fuel is now the required. It does not cause any air pollutions as compared to the other power plant. Performance of this plant is very high as compared to the other power plant. It needs a less space compared to the conventional thermal power plant. Disadvantage, its capital cost is high because the uranium cost and all this fuel cost is also very high. That is why the capital cost is very high. It needs a trained manpower because handling of all this nuclear reactor is very difficult. That is why the trained power manpower is not required. The cost of the power generation is also very high. Thank you very much for listening my video. Thank you.